This right here is a common misconception. Not all pretty girls are getting the same privilege. In my opinion, there are 3 different types of pretty girls. Let's get into it. But first, I want to say I can't believe how many of you guys are relating to my video. On one end, it feels really good to have people who understand me and who get me, but on the other end, it's very sad that we are all connecting over these unfortunate experiences. Now let's get into my opinion of the 3 different types of pretty girls. First, there is the conventionally attractive girl that all the women love. They want to be her friend, and the men, they're trying to date her and pay her bills and do all these type of things for her. That is the one that you're probably referring to right here. I don't know nothing about that. Because then there is the second girl. She is also conventionally attractive, but she doesn't know she's conventionally attractive. Women do not really like her like that, and men are constantly over-sexualizing her and want her as decoration. Now, I'm not sure if the first conventionally attractive girl is also getting treated as decoration. I don't know, because I never personally lived that experience. But we know how men are, so it's possible. Then you have girl number 3, and she's usually not conventionally attractive, but she is attractive. She is an acquired taste. The guys who get it, and the guys who don't just don't. But this one is usually the hater in the situation. Not all the time, but usually. And that's because she's looking at one of the girls, one of the 2 conventionally attractive girls, and she's feeling a way that she's not getting that same type of attention that the other girls are getting. But she's still beautiful. And more than likely, she doesn't know it either. Now, I have had these friendships 3 different times in my lifetime, where it was literally 3 of us girls, and each one of us played that role. I was always the conventionally attractive girl that didn't know. The women didn't like her. The men wanted her as decoration. I've also had my one-on-one friendships as well, but we'll talk about that another time. I want to talk about my high school best friend group, where it was me and 2 other girls, and how weird that experience was for me. Now, the conventionally attractive girl, who everybody loved, she was like the pageant type of beauty. She was like thin but curvy, not tall but not short. And she literally actually did win a beauty pageant for our city. But the interesting part about it was the same guys that were trying to talk to me were trying to talk to her, and vice versa. We literally had like a joke about it, because of course we would talk about it and be like, oh, so-and-so was trying to talk to me, like, oh girl, he was trying to talk to me too. So whenever we would bring somebody up, like, oh, John was just doing X, Y, and Z, we'd be like, which John? Our John? And I didn't think much of it, but I did think it was weird that she's the pretty girl out of our group, but those guys were also trying to talk to me. Also, I was chubby during this time, so there was that. But I definitely observed that all the girls liked her. Like, girls were like clamoring to be her friend. Like, our friend group was tight. Like, we were locked in. But other girls were trying to get into our group to be friends with her. Like, and they never made it in our group, but they were like our friends connected to her. And I always thought that was interesting. And I happened to notice that people didn't really like me. Like, if you weren't already clicked in with me, you probably didn't like me like that. And these were just observations. I never felt away, but it definitely was something I noticed.
Now, when you watch videos like this, you get to see how petty women are, how a lot of them are pretentious and very catty when it comes to this. And a lot of times when you see women make these videos, it's usually a woman like her, light skin, her complexion, and wearing her natural hair, that's talking about these issues. And you can hear she doesn't want to speak in particulars in terms of certain type of women, but we can know what she's referring to when she's saying the attractive girl that gets all her bills paid, the attractive girl that doesn't know that she's attractive, and the attractive girl that envies the other 2, that's basically a hater. Which all women who are attractive will call other women, every woman, attractive until she pisses them off, or she'll reveal to her friends that, oh, she's ugly. So a lot of times the attractive woman is the hater too. That's just what I've noticed. But the fact that we have these discussions on pretty privilege, and it's always a light-skinned woman talking about it a lot of times when they're referring to this pretty privileged situation and what's going on. Let's finish up this video. Let's go.
Now, you would think that the other girl, the one who was not conventionally attractive, you would think that she would be hating on the one that everybody loves. Wrong. Turns out she was hating on me. I didn't know it at the time. It took me understanding years later, when we weren't friends anymore, looking back on our experiences, to realize, oh my gosh, that girl was not my friend. I did feel it was weird in the moment. I just did not have the understanding to know what was happening. But apparently I had some flaws to her, some physical flaws. So she made it her business that whenever we would meet some guys, or whenever we would be around some other girls, like people who weren't in our immediate circle, she made it her business to like tell everybody, like, oh, Aaliyah such and such and such, like, oh, you, like, look at, she would be pointing out like unsolicited, unprovoked, just randomly would feel the need to mention things that she thought were my flaws, things that I thought were flaws too, in front of these people. Like, what was her motive? So that they would like find me less attractive? But I'm not even the attractive one in the friend group, supposedly. So this is what I was thinking at the time. And when I say she went out of her way, she literally went out of her way. One day, we were taking our senior pictures and we were in the girls' restroom. She looked at me and she was like, you know, you could have a body like Beyonce if you would just work out. And she had such, like, she was so disgusted with me. And I was just like, on one end, I was like, oh, I could look like Beyonce. But on the other end, I'm like, what is this girl even talking about? I had no perception of what I looked like at all, other than the fact that I just thought I was ugly. Because there was a time period where I was bullied and everybody told me how ugly I was. But that's another story. I didn't say anything. We just walked out the restroom and I kind of just shrugged it off, like, I guess. But she always had this like hatred towards me. And maybe it's because she saw something I couldn't. I mean, I do have a nice body now, so thank you. But you would think that she would be hating on the one that everybody loves. But she also was one of the girls that wanted to be like real close and buddy-buddy with this girl, but wanted to hate on me. Now, of course, the conventionally attractive girl who everybody loved, me and her had no issues. I didn't feel a way towards her because everybody loved her. And she obviously didn't feel a way towards me because she had confidence. She never said anything to me to make me feel weird or make me feel bad. We were actually really, really tight. But for some reason, and in my friendships to follow and the ones before that, I was always the one that was also attractive but was hated the most. And I didn't do nothing. So you can't lump all of us pretty girls into the same categories because we are being treated differently. And as far as the men go, I've been dating average men because I always thought I was an average girl. And the thing about it is, I don't mind. I'm not too good for an average man. But they secretly did not think they were worth being with me, and they always treated me bad because of it. Why we couldn't just ride off into the sunset is beyond me. They had their own issues, and that made it so that they just did not have the capacity to treat me how I deserve to be treated. I don't know why it's different for some of us, but it just is. We're not all the same.
Man, pretty girls have it the hardest. How pretentious to even talk like this, and it goes to show you that a lot of these women carry around this trauma for years, even into adulthood, which I'm assuming she may be mid-20s by looking at her. But I'm the pretty girl, and these girls, and she's referring to a certain type of girl when she's referring to the ones who are hating on her that make these statements like that. But women are so crazy that they will hang out with people that they know don't like them. A lot of you dudes too, but women do it all the time. You know, they talk about you. They'll talk about you to your face and say all these things like that, and you still hang out with them because you're that desperate or you want to be needed or wanted, which is crazy to me. So you endure all this stuff, all the insults. If you just worked out, I have a nice body now. If you just worked out this, trust me, no matter who you are, a woman, if you get compliments from a man, if you felt like you were an ugly duckling early on because other girls weren't telling you you're pretty, even though you had guys telling you that, when you get older, you're going to wear that on your shoulder. Most pretty girls are the same. It's very rare. Most pretty girls conduct themselves the same. They act the same. And they date a certain type of dude that will dog them out. She's right. A lot of times they will date a certain type of dude. Or as she says, I dated an average guy. You'll date these average guys or a guy that you think you look better than, thinking that he's going to treat you better, which a lot of women say that. They'll date ugly dudes because they treat them better than a guy that's handsome or decent looking. But at the end of the day, you end up in the same situation because you're being selective based upon looks, just like men are being selective. So a lot of you women don't think about stuff like this, and the fact that she's having this conversation about all pretty girls, the majority of women who are deemed pretty by society conduct themselves the same. All women like attention, and it's even worse with attractive women. Just being honest, man. But let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Much blessings and abundance. Stick around for the next videos. It's going to pop up on the screen below. That's where I'm going to see you guys at. Listen, it's your favorite everything. This is Wisdom. I'm the best. Let's run it up to 1 million. Quit playing with me. Peace.